welcome. I am Neil Thompson, and it is my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Sen and all of you across the world to tonight's teleseminar. And, I must say for myself, Wednesday night is becoming the highlight of my week. And I always look forward to the teachings that Mr. Sen is bringing us to raise our belief level and live the life of our dreams. And, what's inspired me about Mr. Sen is that what he teaches now is as a result of his own success in business. Showing people how to dream, to imagine the possibilities, has been his quest for the past 30 years. And taking individuals to previously uncharted waters and exposing them to new opportunities and new ideas, and that's been his passion. And, as a result of his 15 years of bringing entrepreneurs on trade missions to Asia and raising the awareness of Hong Kong to the North American business world, and Mr. Sen was honored by the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. And this is the business arm of the Hong Kong government. And it was at a prestigious business gathering in Hong Kong and in 2004. And I was personally privileged to be at that event. And we were sitting at the head table, and along with the Vice Consul and the Senior Trade Commissioner of Canada, Mr. Sen was presented with a gift from the Director of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, Mr. William Chu. So that was a real crowning achievement for Mr. Sen. And, when I think back, I remember one of many incidences, but one incident I was thinking about today illustrates the work Mr. Sen does. And we were sitting around in a restaurant right on Victoria Harbor, and that's in Kowloon, overlooking the magnificent night skyline of Hong Kong. And with us there was a group of Americans and Canadians, and I remember he asked one of his students, and he was from a small town in Georgia, USA, and he said, "Gerald, what was the furthest point you've ever traveled in your life before you came here to Hong Kong with me?" And I remember Gerald very shyly replied in his southern drawl, "To the Mississippi." And that was his highest travel achievement, was from Georgia to Mississippi. And I remember he's probably in his early 50s. So as we did last week, so this is what Mr. Sen does. He lights up a dream and puts it on fire and then sets it ablaze in all his students. So as we did last week, I will ask Mr. Sen to answer a question, and one of the many that we received, and this is the question. What is more powerful to vision with, the mind or the heart? We all have the habitude to create vision from the mind because that is what we were taught and what organizations have reinforced. What power does the mind have in the visioning process that it can interfere, or is it an illusion caused by confusion? And the second part, what is the role of emotion in visioning? In other words, positive emotion, like exuberance, joy, and bliss. Are these assets for visioning? Do they expedite vision? So Mr. Sen will answer this question, and then he'll continue on with tonight's topic, how to vision what you want and believe in it. Welcome, Mr. Sen, to tonight's call.
Thank you, Neil. I'll tell you what, good evening, everybody, and good morning across the world. I know you just told me that we had people from Serbia, right across and South America and Asia, right across Asia, Africa, and of course all across North America. So one of the things that I do, that's why I said good morning, good evening, good day. Time is so meaningless, isn't it?
Yes.
Every someplace, do you know the sun never rises or sets? That's a misnomer. Okay? The question is how we look at it. I remember that day, Neil.
Yes.
Gerald.
Gerald. Yes.
I asked him, you remember it. I asked him, and that was in the Safari restaurant. And, yeah, I remember it in the Royal Pacific Hotel in Hong Kong. says, Kowloon, he said, I told him, Gerald, how far did you travel? You had a dream. He says, I got my dream fulfilled. And I remember even Gerald came down to Long Beach to one of our seminars in Long Beach, California, where he says, I've got my dream fulfilled. I got my dream fulfilled.
Yeah.
He had the ambition. And he just crossed the oceans and discovered a new land in his heart. Okay, let's continue.
Yes.
I just brought back a lot of memories. I didn't know.
I thought you'd remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we can continue and talk all night about it, but let's go. The question is, one of the, I know who asked the question. She's an author herself and a writer and a consultant. And she asked this question, what is more powerful to vision with, the mind or the heart? We all have the habitude to create vision from the mind because that is what we were taught and what organizations have reinforced. What power does the mind have in the visioning process? That it can interfere, or is it an illusion caused by confusion? That's the number one question. To answer that question, let me explain to you. The mind is a part in Ancient Secrets of Success for Today's World, in my book, one of my books, and I say that clearly. The mind is a neuron system. It's a part of our neuron system. It's a part and parcel of a neuron system. Mind is not creative. Mind is like a computer's processor, the neuron system of the processor. The mind cannot create vision. The mind is a sum total of memory. Like we have RAMs and hard drive and we have random access memory. Is a combination of both, hard drive and RAM. So random access memory means how fast it can randomly access memory. So what is more powerful to vision with is the question, the mind or the heart? All the teachers and all the masters of the past, bar none, wise people, have said clearly, like, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Or a woman thinketh in his heart, so is he. The question is, the mind is only the processor. And I know organizations cannot talk of the heart, cannot talk about consciousness, but today things have changed. Today, artificial intelligence has become more intelligent than most of us, though we created it. Did I tell you that Time magazine had, in the New York Times, not Time magazine, New York Times had a news that few thousand robots in Japan have been laid off because lack of work. Now, what the human being is to do before man is doing, and the human being robots are doing. So, what power does the mind have in the visioning process that it can interfere, or is it an illusion? The mind does not have the power to vision. The mind only interferes with the vision of the consciousness or supports it. Depends on how well you have trained your mind and taken control of your mind with the four proclamations. The four proclamation is designed by the masters, both of the East and the West, for one thing alone: to put the mind as in the position of a server, and if not used properly, then a consciousness, is then ruled by the mind. I give a clear example that most people take their dog out for a walk, but some people have dogs who take them for a walk. The mind is like a dog. So, how well you have trained your mind, and how to train the mind to follow your consciousness or your heart, as it's called the great sympathetic heart, is the question. The next question is, what is the role of emotion in visioning? Everything. Emotion. Even when you buy on emotion. And later on you justify with reason. You justify your emotion with reason. How many times you bought things that you never needed? Well, you never even opened the package. That's why we've become, in America and Canada, a nation of garage sales. Like exuberance, joy, bliss. Also, don't forget, is the emotion of fear. That also destroys visioning. Reliance on the mind is called worry, because mind is a sum total of memory. Sometimes we forget. Memory, we cannot contact our memory. So that is the answer that I have for you. So let's go to our theme today, which is the three modes of visioning, which is all related to it here. Because I took this question especially because there are other questions, because this is related to what we are about to do. The continuous Patanjali, one of the great sages, about the ancient sages, he says something so beautifully. He says the continuous flow of only one kind of thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts is supreme bliss and is regularly practiced by the wise. When you listen to the replay of this live seminar, pay special attention to this line. The continuous flow of only one kind of thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts is supreme bliss and is regularly practiced by the wise. You see, this is the ultimate goal of all people who are training in or training for human potential movement. It started at the time of, say, turn of the last century, not this century, turn of the 19th to the 20th century, when there was a movement of human potential movement. And then we invited the East and the West, and people came across the world. Our hearts and minds were opened up. The three modes of visioning I'm arriving at, but this is the prelude to this. Unless you know the three modes of visioning, you would not know which mode you're visioning from and why isn't your visioning manifesting as fast as you want it to. So remember, this particular line is meditation, and that is the goal of the four proclamations. Meditate on the four proclamations. That's why I've made the music, to help you meditate on it. It won't happen overnight. Success is not an easy process, as some may tell you. Success requires assiduous practice. If you have to practice at it. There is no quickie success or quickie nirvana. It is absolutely a practice. It is your life. So that's why I'm telling you we go into shallow ponds for quick success. It doesn't work. And you end up going backwards to drink drink pure water from a shallow pond. We must be very careful. Otherwise, the water could be muddied. Or we We should go to a deep well and drink without care, quench our thirst. Now, there are three types. When I talk about three types of visioning, I'll also talk about three types of love. Let's look at the three types of love. That is, one is selfish love, one is cooperative love, and one is unselfish love. Selfish love is always for my own happiness. I don't care of anybody else. Cooperative love, if you love me, I love you. I only love my family. I love this, my son, my daughter, my child. That is cooperative love, is for the common good. The love you want for yourself and for your lover, but always as an inclination for your own happiness. If you notice, many people love their children for their own happiness. I'm not saying everybody does it, but deep examination will tell you whether you're doing it for children's happiness or our happiness. Unselfish love is the highest kind of love. The lover only cares for the welfare of his beloved. Be it a man or a woman, as the case may be it a country, be it the ecology, our life is centered around love. Love is everything. Every vision is a product of love. Every desire is a product of love. What kind of love are we engaged in? This love gives us the quality of our life, our happiness, our vision. Our being is our love. The only action we can ever take in our life, mark my words, the only action we can ever take in our life is to vision. Vision is the switch. And when we go home and we flick on the switch, the lights and everything comes on, the radio comes on, the TV comes on. And do you know how much work went behind that light coming on? There are billions of dollars spent in opening up that power plant. But we flick up the switch, we got it. We got the light come on. And we got light. Similarly, when we vision, the whole universe gets to work. And all the action, even what you're doing, even the problems, even the friends you meet, the situation, the phone calls that come in, is a part of the flicking on the switch of visioning. And now, every thought is a vision. You cannot, and I cannot, stop visioning. A vision is a picture we see as our reality now. A vision is a picture we see as our reality now. Though it may happen years later, in our consciousness, there is no time, nor space. Because our consciousness has no space. You cannot cut out my body and find my consciousness. But in it, and if I don't have space, there cannot be any time. It's just scientific. Our vision, our desire, spells out our personality, our being, our paradigm. Our being is our paradigm, our thinking pattern. The paradigma, what paradigma? through which we see. Once I was training the trainer class up in Canada. I had 21 of them, 22 of them. I went to the dollar store and got 22 sunglasses of 20, all various colors. And I put it in front of their desks because I had a 2-week-long train-the-trainer program with them. Of course, now they're professional trainers right across the world. They're doing it. And what happened, I gave them the glass, and I said, now, turn them on. Put on those sunglasses. They put on those sunglasses. They were having fun. They said, what is he doing? I said, you can have those sunglasses. Oh, and also I put a mirror in front. In front of on the table before them from the dollar store. And when they put on the sunglasses, and I said to each one of them, what color do you see my face? Everyone had different color. But they were watching the same person, me. The color of the glass is the paradigm through which we see things. My paradigm, when I came to this country, was a used car because it was cheap. I came with almost nothing. Now my paradigm is not even a regular car. My paradigm is a luxury car. Not that I'm showing off. I can't think of a used car. I got a used car when I came here. It had a hole right in the driver's seat side. I could see the road when I drove. It was a big Delta 88, a ship. I couldn't go past a gas station. It was a gas guzzler. But today, it's not the case. The paradigm shifted. The glass which I saw three things through, I saw it. Now, same way we have our paradigms in visioning. That's what our first job. Learning is changing paradigms. Learning is, and every learning is a breaking up of the old. Learning is transformation. Transformation is transform, means one form to the other. And that requires a breaking up. You cannot go from one branch of, if you're like a monkey, I was looking at a monkey, he was jumping from one branch of the tree to the other, but he had to fly in between and take the risk of either falling down or catching the next branch. We hold on to the branch and we want to catch the next branch, but unless it is in our hand, we will not jump. We will not make that paradigm shift at the risk of falling down. So we take our chance and stick to one branch and live our life that way, so we live a little longer, but we live the same painful life. But we have to leave one branch in the left hand to catch on the right hand. See yourself jumping with me. And that's the story of jumping off the boat. You've been sitting on that boat. You cross the river. Unless you jump off the boat onto the bank of the river, we have not crossed the river. And the paradigm means your thinking pattern, or to put it more subtly, the colored glasses you see the world with. Now, I told you I'll be setting the stage with you because we are coming to a very, very important part of our life in this whole series of teleseminars, where you must become the master of your world, the master of your life. And by doing only one thing, we are able to do, vision. Our vision makes us do what we are doing today. That is why the ancient Indian book, the Vedas, says, you are what your deep, driving desire is. Our desires tell us who we are. You cannot desire something that you are not. Unless we change the paradigm, a caterpillar cannot fly. It has the potential to fly once it breaks up and becomes a guck in a chrysalis and then develops the wings. But you can go and tell a caterpillar all you want, and even the butterfly that laid those eggs to make those caterpillars, can't convince them that they can fly. They're just there to protect themselves from the birds and eat as much as they can throughout the day, more than their body weight. I don't think they ever know that they'll become a butterfly, but who knows? Like the Vedas say, you are what your deep driving desire is. And Ralph Waldo Emerson reverberates the same thing by saying, who you are speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. You can say anything you like about who you are, but you cannot have a vision more than who you are. Your vision is your desire. As in the letter you got from my team there are 3 modes of visioning and 3 modes of thinking. We can only believe in a vision if we are in the right mode of thinking, in one of the 3 right modes. What mode do we live in? There are actually only 3 modes of living, like 3 modes of loving. Our visioning revolves around the 3 kinds of loving and living. No matter what our life reflects, our life reflects one of the 3 attitudes of living. The first is the competitive mode. This is the lowest order of human life. This is the survival of the fittest. It's not even human life. It is the animals and the beasts. The other day I was in the waterfront near my home in the morning, and I saw a gull picking up a piece of bread. And all the other gulls were just pecking at it, hitting at it, trying. And when it dropped off, the others all fought around, kicking and gawking and talking and yelling. And this is the competitive mode. It's the survival of the fittest. It is very hard to be creative in this mode. You cannot shape your destiny. In this mode, you cannot shape your destiny. You can live out the destiny. Like a mosquito will live out the destiny of a mosquito. A human will shape his destiny and shape his future. We cannot shape our destiny. We cannot shape our future in this mode. We'll have to live out the destiny that every other creature, including even a molecule, has a destiny of its own. The physically strong and the fittest thrive and prosper in this mode. The second mode, I'll be coming back, how important it is that our visioning works. This is going deep into the area of visioning and manifesting the vision, and you'll find you're doing it every day, whether you know it or not. The second mode is the cooperative mode. It's the social mode. It is more like a corporate life. We take care of each other for common good, for the collective. Anybody outside the collective is not a part of our corporate life. We become social beings. This is also known as a social process. Man, this is not the bestial, this is the human aspect of it. The first one is the animal, survival of the fittest. Man is a social being. And humankind is a social being. Corporate life is more conducive to growth and progress than the competitive one. This is the corporate life. Our society is like a corporation. Even we call the city a corporation of this town. We make the wells, we make the water supply, we do everything and take care of each other. Civilization of man is mainly based on this. Collective peace and security, we have the police force to take care of each other. The third mode is a mode of love or self-dedication. We give the best in us for the welfare of others. And you'll notice, and I'm telling you, you will notice that you enjoy it most. I tell people, when you learn something, don't you want to go and share it with everybody? That's why when we send you these letters, we tell you, give it out to the world. Let them hear it. Because you know what? Today we live in a different world. Our children don't know what the future is. The children that are growing up in the kindergarten, they don't know what the future is. In today's world, at 40, most people are washed up. They cannot get a job. The job has been outsourced. And if they get a job, they don't get a job for the qualification they got in college. They get a job what they got in school, like a rest. They lose about 40% of their income. Because speed of change and everything else. This is the time to teach people to live better life, to uplift them. And the joy that we get out of it, and you will get out of it doing it, will far exceed anything else in the world. Yes, we can be rich doing it. Of course, I've made a living teaching people, a good living, how to live after I've lived it myself. Everything that I've taught is I have taught myself. I've done myself. Like if we teach others, our own learning increases. Our own wisdom blossoms. Now, these three are modes of visioning. Every vision has a motive. This is where the question came. What kind of emotion is there? All vision comes out of lack. And lack means pain of not having it. Desire is born of lack, born of want. We talk metaphorically the love affair of Venus, not love, the romance of Venus and Mars. Do we really know what this romance is all about? Let's look at it. Venus means desire. Mars is the forming power, the red planet, the hot red forming planet. But have you ever seen the Roman description of Venus? I was in a hotel lobby and there was a huge statue of Venus made out of gold coins, gold-plated coins. And the Venus statue was half bare. Her breasts were partially showing in the statue. Now that is the height of embarrassment for a woman. She wants to cover it. It is not, the modesty demands that she be covered. That Venus is desire. Desire comes out of that lack, that pain I want to be covered. I want to have this. So that lack for somebody could be $1 million and somebody could be $10,000. But that lack is what is embarrassing them. That lack is what is aching, and Mars comes down to form it. Unless that lack is there, and lack creates vision, and vision creates absolute visible things like the money, the security, the heart, everything that you wanted. When that lack, that pain comes in, it gets it. So Mars comes in, and Mars is the forming power. And that holds the vision. And Mars embraces Venus, and the manifestation comes. These are metaphors. Some people wonder why their vision is not manifesting. Because they're not lacking what they want. They're not hurting for what they're looking for. They're having a casual fling with their visioning. They do not realize that they're... And the other reason is because of the competitive mode. They want something because somebody else has it. They're too competitive. I want it because I can't have anybody else have it if I don't have it. They're intolerable. They do not realize that they're intolerable to somebody else's obtaining what is not obtained by them. I'll repeat to you, they do not realize that they're intolerant to somebody else's obtaining what is not obtained by them. Let me tell you something. We don't need to know the mathematics of how law of synchronicity works. We don't need to know how subconscious and conscious works. We don't need to know how the law of attraction works. As much as we don't need to know the laws of electricity to turn the switch on and turn the lights on in our room. What we do need to know is what is the motive behind our vision. That is the thing. What is moving my vision? What is driving force? I am what my deep driving desire is. As my desire is, so is my will. They do not realize that they're on the first mode of life, the be still mode, where they're in a competitive mode and they cannot be creative. You cannot hold a vision. You cannot believe in anything. You cannot have a raised belief level. Then you parrot out things, you confirm things, you live in an altered state of mind. Under the state of hypnosis, you can lie on a bed of nails and not get pricked. But those are the altered state of mind. It only works for a little while as long as you're in a mesmeric or hypnotic state. They make themselves small. They close the doors to success. They tell the universe they can't have it because they're too small to have it. Rather, they should be happy. And others are becoming more prosperous. So they too will become prosperous. That's love. Let me tell you this story. The first story on the book of Ancient Secrets of Success. I'll make it a very short story because it's a long story there. There was, in the deep enclave in the Himalayan, remote village in the Himalaya, lived a storekeeper, only store in that whole area. It was very poor, and so was the village. One day, a master was passing through that village and needed to stay there for 3 days. So this storekeeper had a house, and he let this master stay there for 3 days. As master was leaving, The storekeeper fell on his feet and says, Master, I'm very poor. Can you bless me to be rich? He said, I'll do better than that. I'll give you the stone. And with this stone, any iron you touch will become gold. I'm going away. I'm going to leave this stone for 3 months in your possession. On my way back, I'll come and collect the stone from you. Now you have 3 months to make all the iron you can get into gold. He was so excited. The promise of riches hummed in his ears before him. He was excited, could not sleep, because the marketplace where once a month in that area there is to be a bazaar. They don't have shopping centers there. And he took a long trek to that. He waited for a few days to the day of the bazaar. He went straight to the iron merchant. The iron merchant looked at him and he said, I know you've come to buy iron because you've come straight to my store. I said, yes. How much is iron? Oh, he said, it's 9 rupees for 40 kilograms. He said, you are asking too much money. You saw my anxiousness to buy iron, and now you raise the price. I'll wait. I'll come back next month when this bazaar happens again. Next month came. The iron merchant went there. The storekeeper went to the iron merchant bazaar and went to the iron merchant store. And the iron merchant started laughing. He said, I told you you should have bought the iron the first time you came. Now it's doubled. It's 18 rupees for 40 kilos. He says, you are profiteering. You are absolutely outrageous. I'm not going to let you have the better of me. So he walked away and said, I'll come back next month because there's no other iron merchants around. Then what happened? 3rd month came. He went to the iron merchant and he went straight away. He said, how much? He says, listen, I'm not fooling with you. Price has again gone up. It's now 27 rupees for 40 kilos. Take it or leave it. He says, I am not going to let you have the better of me. You have it. Enough is enough. I am nobody's fool, and you're not going to get away with this. I'm not going to buy your iron now. You also remember, the 3 months, this is the 3rd month. The next bazaar will be on the 4th month. He came back very happy that the iron merchant did not get the better of him. The master came down the 3rd month in the village. And in the hovel of a store that he had, he was looking for a rich store with lots of lights and lanterns and flowers and gardens. He couldn't see him because he was looking at the still poor hovel of a store. And so, goodness gracious, this guy came along. The master, you've come. He says, why aren't you rich? Very simple, master. This iron merchant, he was raising the price on me. I couldn't buy that iron. So he said, okay, good. He told the story of the iron merchant. He says, anyway, I'm going on my journey. I finished my pilgrimage. I want my stone back. So he gave the stone. The poor storekeeper stayed poor. The master took his stone and went away. You see, our life is the 3 months we live. Our consciousness is our touchstone. Any iron we touch will become gold. We bargain with life. We live in a competitive mode. And what happens? We don't want to give anybody anything. If I were the merchant and you were the merchant, and the storekeeper, I would have said, listen, I'll give you, instead of 9 rupees for 40 kilos, why don't I give you 18 rupees instead? What difference would it have made? Our life has 3 areas of us: youth, middle age, and our senior years. What do we do with that? Makes our life success or failure? Competitive, cooperative, and self-dedicated. 3 modes of visioning. The poor storekeeper ended up living in the competitive mode and couldn't even get going from the starting point. He could have cooperated at least and given the iron merchant a little profit, and still would have been rich man. More rich than he can ever conceive. You won't believe this. There are a lot of people like him. Now you see, our visioning is just the starting point. It's our motive behind the vision that makes the power of the vision. We cannot vision more than what we are. Like myself, everything I do, I want to give. So do you. That's why you're listening. Like I personally have gone through tremendous painful experiences. And after, in reflection, they're joyful now in building my business. That same thing has become my touchstone, which I offer to the world. It is my great joy. For example, I'll show you in the upcoming global workshop. I'm organizing an upcoming global workshop to become marketers and writers. I'm preparing you to have a vision for your life so that something in the future you can join me in the Himalayas, Nepal, India, and Thailand, where I'm going to have the Train the Trainer program, public speaking for authors and marketers for today's world. Today, the world has changed. The whole idea is to share what you... When you are writing a book, you are in the self-dedication mode. You're in the love mode. You want your readers to be getting the thrill out of your experiences, out of your writing, and they could be prosperous, rich, romantic, happy. I'll show them. By the way, in December, I'll be going to Chiang Mai to set up a workshop in Thailand to take people from all over the world and train them in the art of marketing, public speaking, writing, promoting, advertising, where they will share their knowledge, their visions of life, and distribute their information throughout the world. There is nothing more exciting in life than sharing, than giving. And, you have to vision. And I will tell you about my vision, and I'll notify you about my vision. For those of you who are curious, I'm going to tell you I'll be going to Chiang Mai, Thailand in the middle of December to set up this 2-week business program for book writing, promoting, and Train the Trainer program for the global market. But sometimes in April 2010, you'll be notified. But till it's ready, I can't tell you about it. Now, don't be like the poor storekeeper who at this stage is going to make, he says, oh, he's going to make money from us. No. You should be thinking how you can make gold in Chiang Mai. Remember one thing, that life is a vision. Your life and my life is a vision. At this moment, what you see in your life is a vision manifested. You are what your deep driving desire is. You are what your lack is. When you see your lack, you should be happy. Then you can form your vision. And remember the switch in your room. Turn the switch on, and the light comes on. You don't have to worry about how electricity works, how the power plant is generating the power plant. Let them handle it. Let the universe do its job. You do your job. Feel the lack, the pain. The lack of romance will create vision of romance. The lack of riches will create vision of riches. Lack of relationship will create vision of relationships. The lack of health will create rejuvenation and revitalization of life. Get off the competitive mode. Don't stay in the cooperative mode. Get into the self-dedicative mode and love like you have never loved before. I will shortly spend a lot of time with most of you, some of you in Chiang Mai, in Thailand, in the mountains, where you will be conceiving a vision of a book, conceiving a vision of your speaking career, and speaking to the whole world, even from Chiang Mai. You will be knowing what outsourcing is. You will be knowing about how you can manage your business when you're traveling along the River Seine, walking across the banks of Rio Seine in Paris, or holding your lover's hand, your spouse's or romance's hand, and walking down the Danube in Budapest, or even sitting on the banks or on the Westminster Bridge in London and looking at the Thames flowing down in a contemplative mode, or going to Cannon Street in London to a beautiful restaurant I know called Omar Khayyam. I will see you next Wednesday and talk to you more, and you'll get a letter from me. Letter from my team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sen. That was another life-changing talk. You know, I'm gonna right away. I'm marking off my calendar for next April. You know.
I have to give you the dates, though. I haven't got it.
I marked the whole month off for Chiang Mai. I would like to remind everyone once again that it's very important that if you don't have a copy of Ancient Secrets of Success for today's world, you can go to www.raiseyourbelieflevel.com. That's raiseyourbelieflevel.com to get one. And read it over and over again. It not only gives you the know-how and knowledge of success, it tells you how to practice success. And that is the difference between this book and most of the other books in the world out there. It gives you the practice of success. So as Mr. Sen was saying, next Wednesday we'll continue on with this life-changing teleseminars. And re-listen to tonight's teleseminar. You'll receive an email in the next few days about tonight's recording. And please forward this email to your friends, your relatives, and anybody else in the world you would like to share it with. And also get them to join in to next week's teleseminar. And they can listen online from anywhere in the world with no long-distance charges. So good night, adieu, auf Wiedersehen, and thank you once again, Mr. Sen.
Thank you.
Good night.